Hello everyone, welcome back to History Lessons. Today we will be doing the non-aligned movement, which is a part of class 11 ISC board syllabus. Your syllabus comprises of the non-aligned movement, the meaning of non-aligned movement, objectives, Panchshil, role of Jawaharlal Nehru, the first PM of India, and the name of architects of RAM. Very few points only. So, because of the reduced syllabus due to the pandemic. So, we will start with the meaning of non-aligned movement or non-alignment. So, the term non-alignment has two aspects of meaning, like negatively or positively. Negatively, it is like not taking part into any power blocks. And the positive dimensions, it means that nations which are non-aligned judge each issue on its own merit and then never cross the path of any other nation. So the term non-alignment may be differently interpreted. Negatively speaking, a country that is non-aligned does not support or is not part of any of the power blocks. Non-alignment aimed at keeping away from Cold War, but non-alignment should not be considered isolationism. Very important point. So it is not isolationism, but it's just keeping apart from any type of power blocks, because the time we are speaking about, it's the time of Cold War, like post Second World War period. Cold War, I should mention here that it's not a war, but war preparation. Here, military techniques, military like missiles, everything was very much increased by the power blocks, and the world was bipolar then. One was USSR, United Socialist Soviet Russia, and the USA, United States of America. These two power blocks divided the world into two parts, and they were always in a race against each other, and which affected the newly independent nations like India. And India already suffered from 200 years of colonial rule, and in the partition also has affected affected the land very much. So India was not only getting its independence, but partition also. So after that, India had no sources or resources and energy to join any other power blocks for any major war. So Nehru, the then Prime Minister of India, decided to keep India away from such chaotic situations. So the policy of non-alignment was very vital for the newly emerging independent nation like India. So it means that nations which are not non-aligned judge its issue on its own merit and do not toe the line of one or another. So this is the positively and negative meaning of NAM. And then the architects of NAM. Not only Jawaharlal Nehru, there are four main architects of NAM, like Jawaharlal Nehru of India, Marshal Joseph Tito of erstwhile Yugoslavia, Abdel Nasser of Egypt, and Sukarno of Indonesia. These four people were like the foremost architects of NAM, who built the NAM. So now we will be going to the next part, the objectives of the non-alignment movement. As it is a movement, it was started by the newly emerging nations, newly independent nations. It had certain objectives like abolition of imperialism and colonialism. So many nations have already achieved independence by then, but many were there left in the Afro-Asian, Latin American countries which were still fighting imperialism. So they were against imperialism. Imperialism is no good, thus they were against it. Maintenance of international peace. Peaceful coexistence was a main cornerstone of the NAM movement. So peaceful, maintaining international peace and order was one of the main aim. An end to racism. Apartheid and all was there in South Africa. Here also the racism, the blacks were looked down upon. So an end to racism of NAM, all the objectives and aims of NAM were very much positive in nature. So an end to racism was one of them. Disarmament. So we will follow a policy, the nations which will be part of NAM movement will follow a policy of disarmament, like not encouraging to develop their military aspects or war things, war techniques and all. So that will automatically impact the international peace and order. Then helping the United Nations. United Nations was a body which was established post Second World War to establish law and order in the whole world. So NAM will help the UN to maintain peace and order. Creation of a new international economic order. So economically to sustain the nation, so it was important. So the gap between rich and poor countries keeps on widening. And since 1970s, developing states have been craving for the creation of a new economic order based on equity and justice. They are demanding reforms in areas such as International Monetary Fund and World Bank, technology, transfer and foreign investment to boost their economies. So the newly independent nations were economically very much weak. They had nothing. India was fighting with their 5-year plans and all. So every nation wanted to restructure and wanted loans and to boost their economy from World Bank and IMF. So protection of the environment. NAM called for global cooperation to protect the environment. Environment nowadays is very much needed to think about environment. We can understand the effect of global warming. So it's very needed. So NAM as having its positive outlook has its part on environment also. Cultural equality. NAM stressed the need for cultural equality through the restructuring the existing information order. Enforcement of human rights. NAM always wanted all people should have their own rights. Enforcement of human rights has been a major objective of the non-alignment movement. So they wanted to enforce the human rights. So these are the very much objectives and aims of NAM, which clearly outline on which basis NAM was working on, and it was very important during the Cold War period particularly. Then come the Panchshil. The Panchshil were the 5 major principles on which the NAM was based. So the 1950s were the Cold War years. NATO has been set up in 1949 and the early 1950s military alliances had begun to be forged in Asia. NATO was North Atlantic Treaty Association. So these were the treaties which were the nations were making with each other to boost their military techniques, to boost their war areas. So when one will be attacked, another member of that treaty will help that person. So that will lead to a total war situation. So in this situation, in the Indian context, along with China, proclaimed, India and China together was there in NAM. So proclaimed 5 principles of peaceful coexistence, which came to be known as Panchshil. These principles became the bedrock of the non-alignment movement. In 1955, President Sukarno of Indonesia hosted a conference of 29 Afro-Asian countries at Bandung. In the communique issued after the meeting, it was stated, principles of Panchshil, peaceful coexistence. What are the 5 principles? Very important: mutual respect for one another's territorial integrity. So one will not interfere or encroach upon other nations' territory. Non-aggression. Number 3, non-interference in one another's internal affairs. Number 4, equality and mutual benefit. And lastly, peaceful coexistence. This was all about the Panchshil. Then you have in your syllabus the last part, which is Nehru's role in the non-alignment movement. Nehru was the first Prime Minister of India and independent India, and he had a very important role to play in the NAM. So Asian Relations Conference, even before independence, India had convened the Asian Relation Conference in New Delhi, March 1947. Inaugurating this conference, Nehru said, "We have no designs against anybody. Ours is a great design of promoting peace and progress all over the world." So Nehru was very much determined, even before getting Indian independence, that international peace and order maintenance will be India's foremost motto. Then enunciated the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence. That is, he has a role to play in Bandung Conference, at the Bandung Conference in formation of Panchshir. Nehru's contributions in the deliberations at Belgrade. In the Belgrade summit after the Bandung Conference, Nehru also had an important role. He laid emphasis on negotiations for peace. Any problem can be solved through negotiations, talkings, treaties and all. Negotiations for complete disarmament. There should be no armed race. Armed race was one of the major factors for First World War also, and in the Cold War situation, same situation was growing. The ending all imperialism in all form. So colonialism, imperialism, which is a very root cause of several evils, should be ended. Opposition to the very idea of power blocks and strong condemnation of acts of aggression. So opposition to the idea of power blocks. So getting into a block is like self and other concept. One block is against another block, so that will affect their the international peace when they will be at war situation. So Nehru was very cool-handed. He cool-handedly handled a lot of situation. He was cool-headed person actually. His cool handling of the situation after joining SEATO, India was a part of SEATO. Pakistan became sorry, not India. Pakistan was a part of SEATO, and after that, Pakistan this was a neighboring country, and she became very much hostile towards India. Even then, we refused to give up our chosen path. Like after that also, being the neighbor country aggressive, India did not lose its path of maintenance of international peace and order. India established itself as a powerful force in the world affairs and world peace. So India set an example with the NAM, with development of non-alignment movement, with Nehru's effort. India set a world example that how a newly emergent independent nation can fight for international peace and order, and which is good for the whole mankind. So this was all the non-alignment movement of your syllabus. Thank you. Please subscribe to our channel for more interesting facts on history, and don't forget to comment down below. Thank you.